So the first step is to apply a white face paint on a sponge over one half of the face. You want to use one of the softer brands of paint, something like Cedar, Paradise. I'm using Superstar, and try and avoid the thicker paraffin, like waxy paints like Diamond Effects, because they're quite tricky to use on a sponge. It doesn't blend so well. Next, I'm taking a light grey colour and I'm going to mix in a tiny bit of brown just to warm it up, and I'm going to use this to carve out the shadows of the face. So anywhere that needs contouring, like the cheekbones, the temple, just to kind of make it look a bit sunken in. On a number 2 round brush, I'm taking Diamond Effects Black, and I'm going to outline the shape of the eye socket and then completely fill it in. And then I went in and outlined the temple area. Now, before this had a chance to dry, I swapped over to a fluffy brush and I just blended that colour in to create a bit more of a shadow. I actually blended it more than I wanted to, so just to take away some of that top layer of paint, I used a baby wipe and then reapplied some white. Next, you want to outline the cheekbone and make sure that that line finishes on a nice sharp point. And then from here, you want to paint a line down that connects into the outside corner of the mouth. Then from here, you want to loop this back up to that cheekbone line and then create a second smaller loop a little higher up. Then all you need to do is colour in the inside of these loops. So I'm going to do half of it with solid black, and then I'm going to use my fluffy brush just to drag the colour down and fill in the bottom half. Next, going back to that original sponge we used with the grey-brown mix, I'm just going to drag this on top of that black line, drag it downwards, and that will help create a bit more of a shadow. Outline the lower edge of the jaw, and then again use that sponge to blur out the bottom of the line. The next step is the nose, so use your thin brush just to outline the shape, and then once you're happy with it, you can switch to your fluffy brush and just drag the colour into the centre. At this point, I went in and extended those 2 lines that go around the eyebrows, and then you want to paint a line on the top and the bottom lip and press it together, and this just prevents any transfer once you have the teeth on. Now, with the teeth, the easiest way that I've found to do this is to go in and paint all the vertical lines first, and you want to make sure they're different distances apart. If each tooth is the same width, it just looks a little bit more fake. So do all the vertical lines, and then once you've done that, you want to round out the top edges, make some of them a bit more pointy than others. Again, that just helps create a little bit more interest. Once I was happy with those, I went in and did a little bit more shading with that fluffy brush, and then I switched over to a more stronger white, something like Diamond Effects this time, and I added a few highlights. I also use this white to fill in the teeth, and you really don't need to be too neat about it. Just go in and add a little white blob in the centre of each tooth. Now you could just leave the design here if you're happy with it, or if you want to make it a little bit more gruesome, we can go in and add some blood. So first I apply it with a brush. This is Superstar number 127, and it's my absolute favourite colour to use for blood. And then once I have that line, it needs to be quite wobbly, that wobbly line down the centre of the face, I'm going to use a stipple sponge and I'm going to drag it out. If you find that the colour that you put on with the brush is already dried, just apply some more straight onto the sponge and then drag it. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything that you want to see in the future down in the comments, and everyone stay safe.